Hello, friends. This is Christopher Davis-Shannon, and today I'm hopping across the country to California to check in with the fabulous Abby Lyons. Abby, how are you doing today?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. We were chatting before this that we were both, it's getting very hot in both of our individual regions. I know I'm fighting not to sweat this entire interview while we're here. That's half the battle of summer in Philadelphia with no air conditioning. Regardless of the weather, would you mind just hitting us off with a tune?
Of course, yes. I can take back all the things that we took. The chaos is right there where we never looked. And all of our plans never go how they should. But anything bad can be turned into good. If he never left me, I wouldn't have you. And if one day you walk out, that'd be alright too. I'd cry for a while, but it would be understood. 'Cause anything bad can be turned into good. Because he wants to know you're safe. You walked down this path before, but there is always another way. Yes, there is darkness outside of this room. Sometimes I see it inside here too. Despite all the pain that my heart has withstood, I know anything bad can be turned into good. Oh, anything bad can be turned into good.
That was lovely, Abby. Is that one of your own tunes?
Yes, actually it is. Yeah.
What's the name of that one?
Anything bad can be turned into good. Long titles.
Hey, long titles are good. So Abby obviously is a wonderful songwriter, and you have just released your first official music video, right?
Yes, it just came out on the 12th.
Cool. And so I'm always curious about the back end of things. You know, everyone gets to see the finished product of a video getting released. But could you kind of just walk us through the process of how you made this from start to finish?
Yeah, totally. Well, in LA, I feel like you can meet artists like wherever you go, no matter where you go. So I went to a dinner at my professor's house, and I had met one of his friends before, but we had never really talked too much before, but he turned out to be a director. And I had also just gotten to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I was telling him how I went to the YouTube space and how I could use their studios for free. And he asked what I would film there. And I said, probably a music video. And he was like, I've always wanted to film a music video. And then he kind of dropped some hints that he was a good director. He said Dennis Quaid was going to be in his next film or something like that. So I was like,
That's the most LA name drop ever. I love it.
Dennis Quaid. So he offered to do it for free, and we started talking about concepts. And in the end, we didn't end up using the YouTube space. We decided to film it in my apartment, and we did a version first for free where we just filmed on iPhones. It turned out looking like it was filmed with iPhones. It was cool.
That's generally what happens. Yeah. I've had that same experience.
Yeah. It had a cool feel to it, but he wanted something really professional. So then we decided to do it again, and actually have a budget. And so I ran a Kickstarter project and funded the project through fans and donations.
That's wonderful. And that's such a great usage of crowdsourcing. So many people use it for albums and various other things, but you don't see very much for video work, which a lot of people don't realize is really expensive to get professional video work done. I mean, going to a studio just to record a record is bad enough, but video work costs a heck of a lot more than audio work. And
Yeah.
for obvious reasons, the editing's a lot more involved and a lot of expensive equipment is there. But good on you for being able to crowdfund that. It's really wonderful to have such a base of support to, help propel you forward in what you're doing.
I've done crowdfunding before. Like I did one for an album actually before, and then I did one this time for the music video. But before I didn't have any kind of like fan base at all. And this time I do. So it was like a completely different experience. Like before I was stressed out all the time. I was like sending emails every week.
Yeah.
I just posted a few times like, hey guys. And like people were really generous and donated like pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to like not have label support and have that sense of comfort still, that because people are going to buy it. They obviously want that product, and that's a beautiful thing that we're kind of ripping away from record labels right now as independent artists. Is that direct interaction with our fans is so key, to have that personal connection, and then when it comes time to fund things, people are happy to help you out because you're in the end a human, not just someone who sings and plays ukulele.
Yeah. And if people like you, I mean, they want to help you. So
exactly. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about the arts. I don't think you see it as much in other professions. Like no one hires a plumber because they like the plumber so much.
Yeah.
But in our field, you really get that sense of the way people are engaging with you and supporting you, whether it's financial or just by any other means as well. That you get this just like sense of love in your own little community in music.
It's kind of funny too though, because you have to like, I mean, if you want to do this kind of stuff, you have to like build a fan base more or less. And then if you're not likable, then you can't, I don't know. I think about it.
Yeah.
Like
I feel personally attacked right now, Abby.
What? No, you're doing great.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely a different world than we were like navigating, 10 years or so ago, even in music, without the prevalence of social media and this ability to largely amplify things. I remember when I first started playing gigs, because now I'm just going to say that I'm old, or at least older than you. So there's that. And I started playing gigs as a teenager, and when we talked about building our fan base back then, we were going and getting posters printed at 7-Eleven on the copying machine and then nailing them up around town to promote our show and try to get people interested. And then you get like the email list out. That would be the big thing if you could get someone in there. And now we have things like Instagram and YouTube and all of this that just amplifies everything times a million. And I'm not saying that it's actually any easier now. It's maybe just as hard, but the way that it's evolved and how we grow a fan base is in such a short period of time is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't know. I was thinking about too, there's a lot of competition on these sites too, in a way. But
so much, and the uke world's so big, and which is the beautiful thing about it. But there is a lot of competition in there. There's always someone out there doing very similar things what you do, but you write songs, which makes you very unique in this world. Not that there aren't a lot of other songwriters in there, but you're a very good songwriter. So that helps in there. And the quality of the product is always going to overshadow anything else. At least I'd like to think that. I don't know that it's actually true. But back to the quality of the product. So you finally got the video crowdsourced, and then what happened? I need the end of the story.
Then the director and I kind of like thought of all the people that we could get to be in the project, like contacts that we had. He usually works with professionals who like charge a lot.
As they do.
So like we put together the budget, but it was like a pretty small budget still. So what he did, there's a guy that he usually works with, a DP, a director of photography. And he has a son who is like getting into, doing filming, but is like early on in his career. So we got him to be the director of photography, and he was fantastic. And I don't know, there's a makeup artist from Fender. We just got a lot of people together. Filmed the video in my apartment. I don't want to talk too much about, well, I mean, I guess it's out, right?
So we will definitely, the link will be in the description of this video, so everyone can just look at the finished product of the other video.
I think
Certainly, because that's, that's what most people care about is what it looks like in the end. I'm just one of those curious ones who loves to know about the process of artists, you know.
I mean, we did it all in one day. We started really early, and it was hailing the morning of, and I needed to get a cupcake for this one scene. So I went out of my car and like got pummeled by hail and was like writing a cupcake.
That's dedication to art right there, braving a hailstorm to get a cupcake.
And then later in one of the scenes, we have the cupcake. It comes in, like my friend brings it in really quickly, and there's a little candle in it, lit. And he brought it really quick, and it fell over and like almost lit the whole table on fire, and like all freaked out. I'm like, almost burned the apartment down.
You gotta live dangerously.
It was worth the shot.
Yeah. Abby, would you mind playing us another one of your tunes?
I should have written you a love song, but instead I wrote a song about how I was moving on. And I wrote some lines and some rhymes that I kind of regret. I should have written you a love song, but instead I wrote a song about how you were just a phase, and how you had a pretty face, but I just wanted you to change. Oh, I wrote these songs about how we could never work, and then turned around and gave my best rhymes to the wrong guys. Oh, I wrote them poems and melodies and let them live in harmonies, but out of all of them, now I'm thinking I should have written you a love song, but instead I wrote a song about how you were in my way. And I wrote some mean things, and all these refrains echoed in my brain. I couldn't get them out of my head. I would hear them when I saw you and believe in what they said. And they were a constant reminder. I had these catchy tunes telling me I didn't want you. Oh, I wrote these songs about how we could never work, and then turned around and gave my best rhymes to the wrong guys. Oh, I wrote them poems and melodies, I let them live in harmonies, but out of all of them, now I'm thinking I should have written you a love song. And I know that it's a little late and we have all moved on, but I wanted you to know, here's the song I should have written 5 years ago.
That was a lovely tune, Abby. What's that one called?
I should have written you a love song.
It's a good title. Have you released and recorded that one, or is that one that's still just kind of floating around in your head?
Actually, this is the one that's going to be in the music video.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Even better. So aside from writing songs and playing music and all that jazz, you also do educational work. Started off with Fender, right? And also with YouTube. So what is it that you do over there in regards to ukulele and teaching ukulele?
Well, over at Fender, I started out being one of the ukulele instructors on film. And when I got the job, they told me it would just be like a few months, like we'd do like 10 shoots or so, and then that would be more or less it. But it's gone on for like 3 years now.
That's a good one.
So
3 months, years.
So after doing the shoots, I got involved in like kind of the background work of writing the lessons for guitar curriculum mostly. Um, so really all I have to do is like listen to the songs that they want to teach and figure out the chords, figure out what strumming patterns to use and like what the best way to teach them is, and then put it in a lesson format.
Cool. And now they have other people filming those lessons from your course design, or are you still doing some of the on video work as well?
So with the guitar, it's all been other people who have filmed the lessons because I am not doing the guitar lessons on camera. But with the uke lessons, yeah, I've written some and then teach them myself. So yeah.
That's so cool. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when you go through and teach a song, for most of us at least, I mean, some people just sit there and do it, that there's a lot of behind the scenes work to that as well, and figuring out arrangements and writing arrangements and having the tools available to be able to do that. I know you majored in music in college.
Yeah.
You got your master's, right, in songwriting?
Pretty much in music composition. Yeah.
In composition, yeah. And those, and you know, you think about music composition as like a music major. What the heck am I supposed to do with that degree? For a lot of people, I have friends who are classical composers that are trying to navigate that market. And the thing is, there's so many other things you can do with that education, such as work with and figure out pop tunes and how to properly teach them to people. And having, you know, I'm sure having such a basis in music education yourself, it's a lot easier for you to come in and do that versus someone who just plays tunes on guitar.
Yeah. They I talked to the guy who finds the people, and he was saying how interesting it is to like try to figure out what kind of person would be good at it. Because I'm mostly a piano player actually, but I have a background in music theory, so I was able to figure out, you know, the chords and stuff pretty easily. But not necessarily all guitar players. Like some of them know how to play, but don't teach and don't.
Right.
Yeah, can't figure out the songs.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, with being a great player and not teaching. It's just a very, I think sometimes there's a misconception that just because you can play means that you can, you know, translate that knowledge to other people. And that's really a totally different ballgame in and of itself on how to really educate people in music and get your ideas across in a way that the majority of the populace can understand. You know, you never get everyone as much as you might try, but learning how to do that is, I think, just as tough as learning how to play an instrument really well is learning how to teach. That's another skill that some of us kind of take for granted.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you and I grew up actually kind of in similar backgrounds, if I recall. Your father's a composer, right, and a musician, and my mother's a professional musician and music teacher. So both you and I sort of grew up around this and it just being normal.
Maybe that I was just trying to think like, where did I learn how to teach? Because I didn't study how to teach really. I just kind of dove in.
Same here. Yeah. But I grew up and like where my workspace was, that I would do my homework at night. My mother was a public school music teacher, but she would come home and do private piano and vocal lessons and sometimes flute as well. These are her three main instruments. And where I would do my homework was directly next to the music room.
Yeah, same.
My entire childhood listening to my mother teach.
Yeah, my mom too. Yeah, and I was in the other room, or like we would like run into the room and interrupt the lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you just kind of get used. It's just normal at that point because it's what you grow up around. And then other people go to school to learn those specific skills in music education. There's entire pedagogy around how to create pedagogy itself.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot from Fender too, though, like seeing how they built the lessons and did teleprompter notes. Like I would try to just remember everything when I was doing YouTube lessons at home, but then I started.
It's possible, right?
Prompter notes. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, but like after 50 takes, you're kind of like, maybe I should do this differently.
Yeah, I've had the same thing where I'll sit down, do something that I've taught, you know, hundreds of times to individual students, but when you try to translate that on camera to a totally accessible form, like it's different because you're not addressing a specific student's needs. I'll go back and edit the video and be like, oh, I totally forgot like one of the most important things that I mentioned here because I'm just not thinking about the overall big picture. And I did the same. I started writing myself notes, just like a little outline of the lesson, so I wouldn't grace over any of those more unique points in some of the things that we talk about, you know?
Yeah, I've been doing that too. Something I've started to do now is also mark which take is the best. And it's saving so much time editing. I can't believe I didn't do it before.
Yeah. See, I have a rule that I only save one take. Everything else is out the window. So if I screw it up, I got to go back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but video editing, I'm sure, is something that you always thought you'd be doing with your life at this age. But just like myself, you know, I feel like we probably spend half our time doing video editing and like 10% actually playing music at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying
the other joys of the social media age.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of skills that, I don't know, yeah, you don't expect to use for being a musician. But
right. But it's great that I mean, we have the tools on just like regular computers at home now to do video editing. Not that I'm good at it by any means. You know, there are people out there who do it for a living, and there's a reason we pay them good money to do it. But you know, it's neat that we have the facility to be able to do that, and also to learn about that, usually online or through books. I mean, there's so much out there that it's really accessible to everyone, and that's, you know, this whole everybody can do everything if they put their mind to it in today's day.
Yeah,
at least to some extent.
With Google and persistence.
Yeah, Google and YouTube videos. We can do anything mediocrely, at least. Speak for myself. Would you mind playing us one more tune, Abby?
Of course, yeah. This last one's called I'm Not Famous. 2 a.m. and I really should be in bed, but I can't stop thinking about where my life is going. See, I've got a job, but it's not where I want to be. And I've got a plan, but it's moving so slowly. Oh, I think you can relate, it's why I'm worried. If one of us could have this dream, then why should it be me? I just want to sing a song. I hope someday you might want to sing along. I just want to be okay, wanna be happy, and I don't have to be famous. No, I'm not famous. So here's the thing, I think I can reach you. You're one of many yous, but I don't want to make this a numbers game. I'm trying to be perfect, but I'm not sure for who. 'Cause deep down I don't care who you think I am or what I do. I'm not famous, but I feel the pressure. No, I'm not famous, but I feel the pressure. I just want to sing a song. I hope someday you might want to sing along. I just want to be okay, wanna be happy, and I don't have to be famous. No, I'm not famous. Wanna be liked, I wanna be loved, I want all of the above. Wanna be liked, I want to be loved. I just want to sing a song. I hope someday you might want to sing along. I just want to be okay, wanna be happy, and I don't have to be famous. You don't have to know every word, I just want to be heard.
I think that's a sentiment a lot of people can relate to. Beautiful. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and joining me and chatting a little bit. I really appreciate it. And everyone listening, I'm going to drop links to Abby's music and her YouTube channel and her new video that just came out and all of that jazz, so that you can check out more of what she does and become one of her rabid fans. So again, thank you so much, Abby. And would you mind just playing us a little tune to get us out of here?
Of course, yeah.